Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning, Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. And of course, good morning to the world. And in honor of Howard Reynolds, good morning for getting that signal piped into way East Texas and deep into Louisiana. Good morning, studio. How are my favorite geniuses doing this morning? Well, I don't hear my favorite geniuses this morning, but
we had to turn the microphones up.
Jack. There we go.
Another fine mess I've gotten myself into.
Take you into the woodshed, pal. I put those high-speed fans on top of the tower so I could blow the signal over to Louisiana, and it worked. Deep Louisiana.
I love that. I love that you're just blowing the signal over there. There you go.
That's right. We're just blowing this morning, that's for sure. And so, how are you this morning, Egberto?
I am doing fine. I'm sleepy as hell because I was on my trainer, my spinner. I'm spinning at 1 a.m. and I'm watching that the world. I'm addicted to that World War II series on Netflix. Oh my God, I'm learning so much, man. Stuff that I thought I knew from a different perspective. It was great. Still have a lot more to go.
They don't teach you the truth about World War II in school. They sort of gloss over a lot of stuff that actually happened. It was really horrible what was going on.
Oh my God, let me just tell you, when you have one of our leaders say, well, you know what? We're going to take out, our bombing, the factories are not working right now. What we need to do is take out all the civilians in Hamburg. And I know Hitler was a bad dude, but I sat there and I'm like, and I'm like, does that sound familiar? Anyway, it's not, today isn't about World War II, but I'm just telling you, I while writing the thing, Howard, I just kept on being fascinated time and time again.
It is addictive, that's for sure. Well, we also want to say good morning to everyone. 90.1 KPFT Houston, 90.1 in Galveston, we're listened to on 89.5, and up in Huntsville, it's 89.7. So we are getting our signal over to Louisiana, Huntsville, and Galveston. So we're doing pretty darn good.
Amen.
Those little mice back there just, tearing up that spinning wheel, generating all that electricity in that signal.
Thank you, listeners.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, listeners and donors.
This is what we do with your money. We send out their signal all over the place. Jack, I am taking up your time, man. What you got for us?
Friday, I like to be a little, let's not be so serious. So,
okay.
This is an affirmation from my friend. All great things are on the other side of fear. Courage is feeling and facing your fear and doing it anyway.
Oh, like I do in that show this morning, later on today. Hey, we're going to be taking in requests later on today. And Harry has called and made his requests already, like 15 of them. So,
love you, Harry.
I mean, I could actually have a Harry show. It's the Harriest show on radio.
Tell him what time your show is going to be.
9:30 until noon. And Harry, we're going to start off some of our requests with your songs too. So be listening, Harry. And Johnny, I was thinking just last night, we hadn't heard from Johnny for a couple of days. And I happened to notice that. What other radio station would call someone and say, hey, are you all right? You get full service here. That's for sure.
No kidding. Yeah, of course. We love all our callers. We love all our listeners. We listen to all our callers,
Most of it.
And he gives it to you straight, unabashed and unashamed of what he says. And that's what's really kind of interesting.
Yeah. He's the mayor of Politics Done Right. I mean, we
absolutely. Absolutely the mayor of Politics. The thing about it is, that we believe in that interaction with the audience. So however big we get, there's going to be some sort of interaction with our audience, because I mean, we think that is where things need to be. Everybody needs to be listened to. And that's why you hear some people that I know sometimes Howard and Jack are cringing back there, but that's
Yes,
why we
we
listen
do.
to everybody, you know?
Yeah, we do cringe. It's like we see the phone light up and the number and go, oh no, not this one again. And they know who they are too. They
Yeah, we love Brian. We love Brian.
Some people do. I'm sure his wife does.
He always brings something interesting, you know, confronting, confrontational,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's pretty good.
But you know, actually, I have heard some very good opinions out of Brian. You know, I'm into when I see the number come up, but it's like, hey, you made sense today.
But
yeah,
you know
he's getting better. You know, I've noticed a couple of times where he kind of is interested in what we're saying.
Yes, he is, and he wants to make a difference too. You know, I mean, everybody, like I said, everybody have their different things where they get informed from. You know, so and we are not immune to kind of learning from folks who call in. Sometimes I try with every call to learn something from somebody, even if it's to learn what not to learn. You know. I mean, so
even if it's, you know, hit the forget button quickly.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, that's what it's like. I love when people, and not only that, when people call and challenges you, challenge you, it creates, it keeps you on your toes, and it makes sure that you do your homework. So you know, for all you guys that are object all of the times, and I mean this, I genuinely love you, man, because you keep me on my toes, man. There's something Brian told me the other day. I had to run and look at it, and I said, "Oh God, I didn't realize that." I mean, he was wrong, but still, it made me go research it. You know, still I went to. But anyway, let's get busy, man. Look, let me tell you guys that I got a call from my brother. Well, I tell you what, I said it in the video. So I'm gonna first tell you what the program was supposed to be about till around 9 at night, and by then I had it written. So this is just sort of icing on the cake. But anyway, the title of the program today is Representative Crockett calls out GOP ineptitude. Trump proved wrong again. Israel says no to 2 states. Subtitle: Representative Jasmine Crockett slams Republicans for sham impeachment inquiry and more. Trump is embarrassingly wrong on another prediction, and Israel gives a full-throated no to Palestine. But after I had all of this put together, because part of it was done on our 3:00 show, but other new things in there, I got a call from my brother-in-law. And after I got a call from my brother-in-law, I got an email from one of our great callers and contributors talking about Medicare Advantage. And so I went ahead and said, you know what? I already wrote the newsletter, but I want to bring this in for you guys today anyway. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start by playing this Medicare Advantage piece. And then I hope to take calls on this. And if we don't get to the other subjects, you know to find it at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Let's get busy right this minute. All of you who follow Politics Done Right or been subscribing to Politics Done Right for a long time now know that one of my pet peeves is Medicare for all. And in that light, we talk about Medicare Advantage, and all these other permutations thereof. Medicare Advantage, I have been calling it a scam for several years now because it is a scam. It is nothing more than private insurance that the government pays for people over 65 years. Government insurance companies never wanted to insure people at the age of 65 and older because they cost more. And they didn't want the risk of working with people that generally get sicker. So it was the government took responsibility and created Medicare, who's been doing a very good job for a long time. It needs a lot of improvement, meaning we need to make it 100% coverage. We need to make it take care of dental. We need to make it take care of ears. We need to make it take care of eyes. But it's being stopped by politicians paid for by the insurance industries and others so that they will be able to use those features as selling points. Well, in as much as they do that, what they haven't done is serve the people as they should. Again, their Medicare Advantage could never, ever be better than standard Medicare. It's simply math. It's simply math. For those people who are benefiting right now from Medicare Advantage, remember you are doing it at the expense of so many others that aren't getting the services they deserve, required, paid for, earned. And that means most people on Medicare Advantage ultimately will get shortchanged. And it is hard to get this concept across because too many people have the false belief that if something is in the private sector, somehow it is more efficient than being in the public sector, meaning that either government or some governmental nonprofit provides that service. It's not true. Math tells you it's impossible. And the reason it is impossible is whereas the government in administering Medicare does not have to pay for profits, shareholder dividends, doesn't have to pay for databases, advertising, etc. Because all those costs are not there, it means that if the government provides the same service being offered by these supposedly Medicare Advantage companies, math would tell you it is impossible for Medicare Advantage to be more efficient than what the government Medicare can provide. Now, I was very happy to see. I think we should give NBC kudos for this report. I made snippets of the reports that are pertinent that I want you to listen to, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Medicare Advantage, those Medicare-approved plans offered by private companies. Millions use them, but we found they routinely reject claims for necessary care. It's devastating hospitals in rural America.
This was once the geriatric psychiatry unit at Alliance Healthcare in Holly Springs, Mississippi. Beds sitting empty.
This operating room only a few years ago was doing 5 or 6 procedures a day. Now, 0.
Dr. Kenneth Williams is the CEO. He says the hospital can no longer afford the unit or any inpatient care for that matter.
It's empty. It died the last few years with Medicare Advantage.
Medicare Advantage is a private alternative to traditional Medicare pitched by celebrity spokesmen like Joe Namath.
Medicare Advantage plans have added new benefits.
31 million people are on the plans, which are often cheaper than Medicare supplements and promise better benefits and lower premiums. But the CEOs of rural hospital systems in 6 states tell NBC News Medicare Advantage routinely denies reimbursements for necessary care.
2006, we went from being well in the black to losing $1.7 million.
Overnight.
Medicare Advantage. And nothing changed other than that.
One government report found the top Advantage plans denied payment for nearly 1 in 5 claims that met Medicare rules.
Your fight is not just to take care of patients anymore. Your fight is becoming more to get paid from the insurance company.
How dire is the situation when it comes to rural hospitals?
More than 300 hospitals that are at immediate risk of closure and another 300 that could be at risk of closing in the next 6 to 7 years.
When Rose Stone retired, she signed up for a Medicare Advantage plan.
Rose, how long have you been coming to Dr. Williams' clinic for?
20 plus years.
And did you think if you signed up for Medicare Advantage, you'd be able to continue to do that?
At first, I did.
She was later surprised to learn the plan didn't cover her visits. Faced with paying out of pocket, she made a difficult choice.
I had to stop coming to Williams' clinic.
Rose has since gotten rid of her Advantage plan and is seeing Dr. Williams again.
You felt like you were taken advantage of.
I know I was.
Again, NBC, thank you for putting this report out. I tell you why, what brought me, I didn't see the report initially, but my brother-in-law called me up and said, Egberto, I just saw this report on Medicare Advantage. I didn't believe what you were saying when you were saying it. I'm like, you didn't believe what I was saying? And now that NBC puts it on, you believe it now? But I pause. I then get another email from a good friend of this show that told me, hey, I just saw what NBC had to say about Medicare Advantage. And so that's the report that you just listened to. Now, here's the hurtful part. All these network TV stations, radio, TV, print ads, all of them, they have been playing these Medicare Advantage commercials, ads ad nauseum. They have been playing them over and over and over again. Why didn't this report come out before? This report wasn't just made between the dates of December 7th and 14th. It would have been a lot more effective if this report came out before December 7th, which is the last day that folks could sign up this year for Medicare Advantage. So a lot of people who would have seen this report by NBC prior to December 7th, think about how they feel on December 14th when that report was aired about the dangers of Medicare Advantage after having seen all these ads, expensive ads for Medicare Advantage, minute after minute after minute. Folks, one of the reasons independent media is so important is because we are not limited by those who advertise on our network. Look, I first of all, I give utter kudos to NBC for having the courage to put this report on at all. But imagine how much more effective it would have been if it was done prior to the expiration of when you had to choose Medicare Advantage or not, especially since on your own channels, all these ads and commercials for Medicare Advantage were in full display. Folks, support independent media because that is where you are going to get the unadulterated, unbiased truth. Of course, if it is in the nature of folks wanting to do you right. Absolutely. So again, I wasn't doing this today, but NBC played a record. My brother-in-law called, a great supporter of the show called. Sent me an email. I had to, I got more than one email on this because it was sort of shocking to folks that, hey, look at what NBC is saying. Let me tell you something, and I want to reiterate this. And by the way, welcome aboard, Eric Hayes. Welcome aboard, Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. I want to reiterate this, folks. I understand the private, or rather, commercial our commercial airwaves, or the airwaves aren't commercial, but our commercial stations, they have to be careful with their loyalties, right? Like I say all the time, NBC, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, these guys have reporters. They are interchangeable throughout these networks. People that went to journalism school and got they're good guys. But when you're in a capitalist society that depends on screwing people, fooling people just to make a buck, Like somehow the private sector could somehow be better than the public sector in healthcare. You know, the private sector will always be better in choices, always be. And I'm for that. Pizza, chicken, a grocery store, all these things where you have a lot of choices, where the aggregate combined of minds are great. But paying for healthcare isn't something that needs innovation. Somebody gets sick, they go to a hospital, the bill is paid for. There's no innovation in paying a bill, right? And government can take other good things like making sure people eat healthy, making sure making sure there are regulations to prevent corporations from throwing crap into your food that extend the shelf life for 1,000,000 years so that they can make an extra buck, right? I mean, a lot of the stuff you see in products are there not for your health, but to keep this stuff on a store shelf for years so that they can be efficient for their shareholders, not healthy for your well-being. Telephone number 713-526-5738. 713-526-5738. Call now on this subject if you want to discuss this before I go to the other subject. 713-526-5738. I would love to hear your opinions. I would love to hear what you thought about NBC's coming out and doing the report. I'd like to hear your own story. 713. Please don't wait till the end of the program, guys. 713-526-5738. Extension 2 to get to me immediately. 713-526-5738. If I don't get a call in a minute or two, I'm going to be going to the second video. But for the time being, let me jump to Howard. Howard, what you thought about that?
Very interesting, Egberto. I actually have Medicare Advantage through Aetna, and I've had no problems with the plan. But then again, I'm pretty healthy. I don't have any real health problems. I would, rue the day that did have a major health problem and it wasn't covered. So I'm kind of live a little bit in, not anticipation, but kind of in fear of that. But so far, so good on that.
Howard, that is the same thing that my friend, supporter of the show, who's been going back and forth with me with Medicare Advantage. And you're right. Right now, it works like a champ for some people, right? And that is great. And the thing that you say is you rue the day if for some reason they say no. And what's happening, what the report was trying to show is that in rural hospitals, etc., it is horrendous because, as you can see, 300 hospitals closing because you're in a big city, Howard. So a lot of things get spread more evenly. I mean, they're getting paid by Medicare Advantage. They're getting paid by other private insurance. They're getting paid in cash. So there's a lot of different ebbs and flows in cash flow that comes into that one hospital in a big city like Houston. But if you're in Timbuktu, Texas, where there's one hospital, most of the people are elderly, then that is where all those problems show up. So,
yes,
6-1.
That's true.
Right.
It's not balanced is the problem.
Exactly.
They don't balance it as far as rural America goes. And you know what? Most people live in rural America.
Yeah.
We don't. Most of the major cities don't have the major part of the population.
Right. Again, right. But anyway, it seems like the mayor is here. So let's go to Brother Johnny. Come on in, Johnny.
His Honor Johnny.
His Honor Johnny.
Good evening, the Honorable Egberto, brother from another mother.
Yes, sir.
The thing that frustrates me about these corporate-owned, commercial-driven media in Manhattan is that they don't repeat strategically what people need to know. They play their commercials with Crest jingles, and you know all about Britney Spears and the underwear, but you don't know what you really need to know. Things that really empower you They want you to be disempowered, to be a cog in that machine, to do your 9 to 5, and then buy the stuff that you can ill afford with the little pay that you get. Repetition is the key. Now, you think you're going to see something worthwhile at 5 o'clock in the afternoon or at 1 o'clock at night when teenagers are awake? That's the problem. When we were teenagers, we'd be up to 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and that's when you get some truth on the networks. But come 5 o'clock in the morning, it's like you're in another world. They play the same old police blotter news, and then they play that sports video that you can't distinguish from any other day, from any other year. It's all a mind game. I don't appreciate NBC, CBS, and ABC doing that. They give you glimmers of truth, and that's all they give you, and that's not satisfactory. You're right. You've got to support Pacifica Radio, Free Speech TV, The Nation Magazine, Jim Hightower's newsletter, all the media who actually provide you stuff that you can tell instinctively. You know when they're being truthful. You don't get that with MSNBC or NBC. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, like I appropriately gave kudos to NBC for the report, even though the report came after the closing of the Medicare Advantage signups. You notice it came after December 7th. So here's the thing that it's going to give the network as a corporation telling truths a cover. You give this report right before Medicare Advantage closes. And so they did their job. The problem is next year, August, September, October, I think it opens in October or November next year again. When that comes in,
right,
you're likely not going to see any reports like this again for all the ills that will be accomplished, for all the negative stories that are going to afflict Advantage between December and October of next year. You won't hear anything about that again until after December 7th, when all those ads are no longer playing on these networks. And that is the frustrating thing about it, Johnny, because the airwaves belong to all of us. But then again, there is Pacifica, there is Politics Done Right. And when my brother-in-law called me, he woke me up about one thing. He said, I listen to you all the time, and I'm listening to you harping about Medicare Advantage. And look, I'm on Medicare Advantage, and I didn't want to hear that. And I'm like, look, I'm not telling you to get off or whatever. I'm telling you just be cognizant of aware what's going on. If you feel like something's going to happen, maybe that's going to be the time for you to make a transition. But do it beforehand, because again, there's this thing called Medigap. You won't be able to afford Medigap if you wait till you're really super ill to go ahead and do that. So we all have to look at our personal situations. And that is what my friend told me. My friend says, Egverda, I love this sucker. I don't pay nothing when I go to the doctor. And I'm saying, hey, that is great. I get it. That is great. That is great. But just beware of what you're doing, because again, first of all, it still costs us all more. Medicare Advantage cost us all more. Your personal decision is great, but as a country, Medicare Advantage costs a lot more, because that's money we have to throw into the pockets of shareholders, executives. And you see that person that sells you that Medicare Advantage package, that one young man or young woman who tries to steer you to Medicare Advantage, many times their bonus for selling you that is the first year coverage that the government pays into that. So let's say $8,000 or $10,000 or $12,000 that the government pays the Medicare Advantage people for your service, they get a huge chunk of that. It's probably not 100%, but a huge chunk of that. That's why they try to promote Medicare Advantage further than they tell you, well, for your case, if you have somebody that is very sick coming into to the navigator's office to figure out what's best for them, it always turns out 90% or 99% of the times that these navigators send you towards Medicare Advantage. And that is something that we need to do. But anyway, I need to go get some more calls, my dear brother, Johnny. Anything else real quick before I go to Wendy?
Yeah. When you have the government handling payments, you don't need navigators. We're not flying in a 747 from New York to Los Angeles.
And you don't need ads.
You get hurt, you get sick, you show up at the ER, and that's it. No navigation required except by the ambulance crew. Hello.
Thank you, Brother Johnny. You have a great day, sir. All right, let's go to Wendy. Come on in, Wendy.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I had some I have some experience with this myself. I'm married to this guy who goes by the name Scooter. I used to have a radio show there. And he hasn't, but he's doesn't like to do details about paperwork and bills and plans and all that kind of stuff. So it was me figuring out which one of these things to get for him, and it took it took forever, but I finally decided that we had to go with a Medicare Advantage because it was way less money than it would be for, regular Medicare with all the different things, having to get a drug plan, having to get
Medicare, Medigap, Part D, etc. Yeah.
Medigap, yeah. That's the big deal. So I figured, when he got on this, he got on a decent one. It's paid for everything, and we've had to have it pay for a lot of things because he's now been diagnosed with a terminal cancer. And one thing I'll tell everybody there is I don't know that there are any of the Medicare Advantage programs in Houston that will go with the top cancer hospital in the world, MD Anderson, who's right in our backyard. We live here in Houston and we should be able to go there. Everybody on regular Medicare can go there. So anyway, I think if I'm not wrong about this, it seems like now they are taking his all of a sudden, but it's taken a long time. But the main thing I wanted to talk about was none of that. I wanted to talk about, we always thought that we could just go back to regular Medicare anytime we wanted. And you can, not anytime, at open enrollment time. And we can, except that you then would have to go to get a Medigap policy that pays for your deductibles and your out-of-pocket things, that people get insurance for that. Because regular Medicare doesn't have a cap on how much your out-of-pocket expenses can be. It just keeps going forever. You pay 20%. And so I thought that we would, change back if we needed to, like maybe now. And you can't do that because you can't get a Medigap policy anymore. You can only get that without going through underwriting and looking at your underlying conditions and stuff when you first turn 65. And you're eligible for Medicare, then they take you no matter what for this policy that covers your extra expenses. But they don't after you've had it for a while, then they make you go through underwriting and you're not going to get it if you have cancer, or if you do get it, it's going to be really super expensive. So, anybody that can, I would suggest that you go with original Medicare as long as you can. Maybe if you have to, for money purposes, change later. I don't know. It's just been a little bit crazy.
Let me just say thank you for that call, Wendy. Wendy, you gave in your entire statement, you gave a clinic, and it's an important clinic, and I want to restate some of the things that you said because it's so important. Yeah. And folks, I want you to listen to what Wendy said correctly, because what Wendy said is very important for all of us to understand. There are some folks who simply must do Medicare Advantage because they cannot afford Medigap. They cannot afford, and Medigap, now you can get a private Medigap plan that includes the dental, ears, eyes, and also drugs, etc., all fixed in one plan. But let me explain. I want to explain a little further what you said because it's very, very important. If at 65, when you turn Medicare age, you get Part A and Part B, which is hospitalization and doctor's respectively. And then you buy a Medigap that covers everything as a 20%, etc. The insurance company cannot charge you more for Medigap than for anybody else, whether you're sick or not sick. That you get the same low price. If you go into Medicare Advantage as explained by Wendy, if you go into Medicare Advantage and at that point you get sick, listen to what she said. Her spouse or his partner gets sick with cancer. We are in one of the number one states that handle cancer at very good. Anderson and MD Anderson and other cancer centers. Most of these Medicare Advantage plans won't let you go to these places. They make deals with less expensive places. Of course, that is so that they can make more money. But anyway, that's a fact that that's what they do. Now, if her partner wants to go back to standard Medicare so that they can obtain that place that is best for them, for their health care, they can do it and get that 80% paid for. But trying to buy Medigap, which will pay for the other parts that traditional Medicare doesn't pay for, they have to go through at that point something that they wouldn't have had to go through if they got it in the beginning, something called underwriting. What is underwriting? The private insurance company says, let me see what kind of risk you are going to be to us, the insurance company. And if you go there already sick with cancer diagnosed, everybody have cancer. People don't realize that everybody have cancer. But not diagnosed. But if you go diagnosed with cancer and you start to switch to Medicare so that you can get services wherever you want to get services, because remember, traditional Medicare, you can go to any hospital, any doctor, any medicine. It is what the government provides you, and you can get whatever you pay 20%, they pay 80%. I want to back up a bit. A lot of companies now, because they know we're in dire straits, they'll forgive the 20%. So a lot of people who are fearful don't realize they won't take your house away. They'll kind of work with you on that 20% because they're going to jack some prices up to get it all. But anyhow, that's a different story. Anyhow, so you would have to go through, if you come back to Medicare Advantage, to standard traditional Medicare, you'll have to go through that authorization again from the insurance company. Now, if you're not sick, you probably will fly through that. It'll probably be a little bit more expensive than what you would have done if you did it at 65 when you just got Medicare. But if you're still healthy, you can make that switch, and it's going to be a little bit more for that Medigap that covers everything, but it's going to be still affordable. But if you're sick, it's likely going to be unaffordable if they give it to you at all. And at that point, they have the right to deny you. At 65, they don't have the right to deny you. They have to take you. And Wendy, I'm glad that you brought your personal situation up so that we could actually further explain that. Anything else you'd like to add, Wendy?
Just there might be some people that know him that are a little bit horrified right now, but it's actually been his treatments have been going pretty good. The cancer responds. He's got it in several places, but it's been responding to the different treatments on immunotherapy right now. But we don't know how long they'll work or anything. But anyway, it's just, I don't know. If anybody wants to get in touch with us, I guess you could email me at Wendy, WENDY, at radio, 4 Houston.org. Wendy at radioforhouston.org, and I'll hook you up.
Hey, look, thank you for your information, Wendy. It's great to have, folks with real life experience call in because, this is a serious topic. Thank you so kindly, Wendy. Folks, the telephone number is 713. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Wendy.
The ones, the Kelsey Care Advantage does seem to still be at MD Anderson, and he's got the Blue Cross Blue Shield one that last time I looked, it suddenly had popped up like they might take it at MD Anderson. I haven't gone any further to know that, but that's all.
Thank you, Wendy. That is so helpful. 713. Folks, give us a call. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738, extension 2 to be on air right away. 713-526-5738. Augie, how is my favorite guy doing?
Okay. Yeah, listening to you this morning reminds me of a lot of things. I have a friend of mine who's like Brian, and we have a lot of confrontation, but at the end, we still shake hands. We still call each other up. And that thing about all these flyers for Medicare sort of reminds me of the last election we just had, when we got all these flyers for Whitmire and pushing their cause. But I'd take the Medicare Advantage, but I've been in good health most of my time, so I can afford. Well, it's more it's fiscal advantage for me to do that at the moment. But I was thinking about Medicare Advantage. Really should be called Medicare Disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
They're misnamed because the money goes first to their shareholders, their execs, and then whatever is left goes to us as far as medical care. And an important number to look at on your card is your group number, because it tells you what they think about you as a patient, and what you're going to get. And they don't tell you that they could change within the year after you sign up for it as to what hospitals you can go to, what doctors you can go to, and stuff like that. And I remember when I first moved here to Houston back in '88, in business section, every December, these companies would have on the front page of business section their service reps, the bonuses they got for denying service to the patients, to their customers. And they got a lot of money. But then after a few years, people started noticing that, I guess, how much they're denying and how much they're paying these deniers of health care. So they stopped doing that. And I think about the documentary, the national news networks used to do a lot of stuff like that. But it used to be on prime time in the evening, like about DDT and other reports that they used to do, but they don't do it anymore. That's because the Republicans have, through FCC, slowly they've been changing rules about what we can hear and see. It used to be that truth was valued on the networks. Now it's not. Lies are equal to truth. It seems like they let the truth deniers free access to the airwaves and the media. But there's also things about used to be about if you had a pre-existing conditions, and there would be like there was a story about a woman for 20 or 30 years she paid for health insurance. While she was a working woman, she's getting ready to retire, but then she finds out she's got cancer, and then she calls her healthcare company for help, and then they start going through her medical records and find out she had a pre-existing condition, so she lied. So they denied her the medical care payment. And the pre-existing condition was she had acne when she was a teenager. That's a pre-existing condition that they said.
Yeah.
And to deny her medical care. And she died because she couldn't get it. But they said that they would reimburse her the money she paid for it.
Well, it turns out, folks, that, and that's why private insurance does not belong in healthcare, right? Because if you're there to make money, if a private insurance is there to make money, what does that actually say? Two things about healthcare. One, they make money, or rather, the health insurance company wants to bet that you're going to stay healthy. You're betting that you're going to get sick. Now, their goal is to try and do whatever it takes to deny coverage on anything. And the truth is, Augie, they're doing their job. That's the job of a corporations, to try to maximize the profits for its shareholders. That's their job. So they're not doing anything that's wrong, etc. And it's evil, but it's not wrong. It follows within the tenet of what they're supposed to do: maximize shareholder value, and with that, executive bonuses and pay. There's nothing wrong with doing that at a grocery store or a pizza shop or a chicken joint or something. But when it's about your health, that's life and death. You have to be careful about that. Now, there's something else that you mentioned about how these things work. I want to tell folks that are in Medicare Advantage. Here's what our goal really is as activists who want to get what's best for all of us as a society. Be in the game. In other words, there's some who can only do Medicare Advantage. I get it. Somebody called me up, sent me an email, and they really castigated me. They slapped me around and said, you just don't get it. If there was no Medicare Advantage, I would be without healthcare. I would be without healthcare because I can't afford Medigap. That's what she said. And I apologized to her and I said, I get it. So the way that I have to change this is to say, those who must be on Medicare Advantage, just remember to be our alliance, our allies, as we fight for Medicare for all, because we need you. We need all of you, the 31 million people on Medicare Advantage. If we could get their votes, if we got the votes of the 31 million people on Medicare Advantage to go ahead and say, I want good health care for everybody, I'm going to support Medicare for all. Guess what? We are halfway there to getting Medicare for all. If those 31 million people, which are all over 65, voting people that always vote, if we can get their power into the Medicare for all movement, along with all the progressive young folk and all, if we got them together, we got Medicare for all. And all this stuff about Medigap goes away. Medicare Advantage goes away. Everything goes away. Healthcare for all. It's all less expensive and we do well. And those thugs that are making all the money on your backs for getting sick and not paying your bill or for overcharging you, that's over. That is over. But anyway, Augie, I got to go to Donald. Anything else you want to say real quickly?
Oh, yeah. And hospitals say they're for a profit. They're telling you what they're for. They're for a profit. They're not for the patient, the customer. They're there to make money. And that's why our primary care doctors, there's less of them. It's getting harder and harder to find a primary care doctor.
Thank you, Augie. Got to go to Donald. Thank you, my brother. Let's go to Donald. Come on in, Donald.
Good morning, Alberto. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, what was the guy that said we came from fish?
We came from where?
Fish. You know, we evolved from fish, and then we grew legs.
Yeah. You're talking about Darwin, right?
And he also said survival of the fittest, right?
Right.
Now,
yes.
Fish have ears. Fish don't have ears. And some of them have teeth and some of them don't. And they have eyes. But the whole point is, if you're a fish, you can eat all the BS that these politicians are throwing out without teeth. You don't really need to hear what they say. You just need the eyes to know who to vote for in the booth, to keep putting the same people back in, to keep doing the same thing, because everybody should have health care to be the best person they could be. Then we'd be in a better place. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Donald, before you go, that's why we believe in health care for all, Medicare for all, because it's so important. Your health is the most important thing. But when you turn health into a cost center, right, there's no incentive to get you healthy. The incentive is there to keep making money from you. And how do we keep making money from you? There are two ways. The most important way is to make you it's to keep telling you that, first of all, everything needs a pill. So if you notice, if your foot shakes a little bit, there's now a syndrome called shaking foot syndrome. If your eye twinkles a little bit, there's a twinkling eye syndrome, and we got a drug for that. We got a drug for you for your foot shaking. And guess what? While you take that drug, well, this drug could be dangerous because this drug could cause this, and that. But if this drug causes this and that, we have another drug to give you that solves the other and the common. I mean, it's a racket, and as long as you have healthcare in the private sector, They are responsible for maximizing profits for their shareholders, and they will try to do things to make monies on your back. Thank you so kindly, Donald, for calling. And it seems like
that's that. But also, too, who, what, when, where, why, and who gets paid. That's
exactly.
It.
You got it, brother.
Have a good one. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Donald. Let's get to Brian. Come on in, Brian. How are you doing?
Yeah. So President Trump's son testified before Congress for what, an hour and 40 minutes? Why didn't Biden's son do that?
Well, actually, Biden, you know what? Here's the deal, and I'm 100% in agreement with Biden. Biden says, I want to testify, but I want to testify where everybody hears me testify, not something that the Republicans can be able to lie to Brian about what I said. You see, he wants to make sure to testify so that you can hear everything that he says, Brian. The Republicans are scared for him to testify in public because they want to be able to rig what he has to say. So again, he wants to testify in public, and I am with him. Do not testify behind doors because they will lie about what you're saying, and there will be no evidence to prove that what you're saying is truth. That's your answer, sir.
So, again, President Trump's son went behind closed doors and testified.
Guess why? Wait. Hold on. Let's understand why. They wanted to testify behind closed doors. Okay. Remember, Republicans wanted, when there were these hearings, including Clarence Thomas's wife, they wanted not to testify in public. They wanted to testify behind closed doors for the opposite reason. The opposite reason was so that whatever came out, they could come out and say, nah, that didn't really happen. Biden is asking for the opposite, Brian. Let's look. You're a fair guy, I hope. You're a fair guy, I hope. Don't be partisan. Don't you want to hear everything Biden had to say? Yes or no?
Yes.
Sir, do you want to hear everything out of Biden's own mouth, what he has to say? Do you want to hear? Hold on, Brian. Brian, I'm going to let you respond. I'm asking you the question specifically. Do you want to know what Biden is going to tell the Republicans in that hearing? Yes or no?
Yes, I do.
Okay, stop. Well, stop now. Yes, you want it, and that's what Biden wants to do. So I tell you what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to go call all your Republican representatives and say, Brian, a MAGA Republican who loves you guys, want to hear. Wait, hold. Okay, sorry. You're not MAGA? Aren't you MAGA?
I support Trump. That is
so you're MAGA.
When you call
no. MAGA stands for what Trump. Sir. Brian. MAGA stands for Make America Great Again. Trump Republican. That's what it's not a derogatory statement. It says what part of the Republican Party you're from. You are from the Trump wing of the Republican Party. Is that correct?
No, I support Trump. I am a Republican. Call me MAGA again. It's a derogatory, racist statement.
How is Make America Great Again? How is that racist, sir? How is that racist?
No, he's
how is that racist? Yeah, how is that racist? I know, well, but it's I mean, I don't understand why these guys support what's definitely known as the MAGA policy, and everything that the MAGA indoctrination has come out. Look at what he said. Let me just show you. He wants to hear He wants to know what Biden has to say. Biden says, I want you to hear what I have to say. And now he's simply taking the MAGA position that says, I want to have the guy testify in private. It's mind-blowing, folks. It's mind-blowing. Anyway, we only have about 3 minutes left. 713-526-5738. Extension 2, I could get you for about 30 seconds. But if I don't get you for 30 seconds, I don't have any time to play Actually, I have time to play one thing real quick. Check this out, guys. This one I got to let you hear. You can listen to this one. Hold 1 second. Let's do it right now. I want you guys to listen because remember, The stock market is at a high right now. And Donald Trump said, if you elect Biden back in 2016, the stock market is going to crash. You know what? If he was wrong then, of course he's wrong again. So let's go ahead and play that, and then we'll take it en el otro lado.
If he's elected, the stock market will crash.
That bell marks a new record high for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, going to close above 37,000 for the first time ever.
If he's elected, the stock market will crash.
That bell marks a new record high for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, going to close above 37,000 for the first time ever.
If he's elected, the stock market will crash.
That bell marks a new record high for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, going to close above 37,000 for the first time ever.
For those who love the stock market, and for Trump, who's telling folks don't vote for Biden because the stock market is going to crash, and he's saying the same thing again now, and I miss getting the clip of what he said. You know what? I think we're okay. I think we're okay. I just thought I might do that for jokes, guys, because again, he says these things over and over. The stock market is at a record high. Anyway, let me go ahead and throw it to the studio. How are my favorite guys doing now before we close this baby out?
Well, very interesting show today, Egberto, and we certainly appreciate you talking about the truth and how the regular mainstream media is just bought and sold, because they are. And Jack is on the phone, so we can't have any Jack wisdom right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Well, we are.
Wait. He's free. Okay, Jack, come over here and give us some wisdom.
The media speaketh with corporate tongue.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
all right, Jack, the man. I can't believe it. We got Jack, a man of few words. No, that's not possible. Anyway, folks, I want to thank everybody who called in. Thank you so kindly. I want to thank everybody who's on the other side listening. Look, this show is yours. We do this for you. For all the subjects that we were unable to cover today because we wanted to get into this subject, remember, you can go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, and all the links to the videos and articles that I planned for the program that I don't do is on that. You can go ahead, find it, and mess with it. It's one of the first things that Jack reads in the morning. Anyway, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Howard. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how in this, baby, I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.